Olive, can you run towards Tekla? He was still confused and suffering from the blow. He was still confused. Tech, shoot a tranquilizer.
It could be dangerous. Are you sure?
We've got to try, or we'll never get away from this cliff alive. I'll try to figure something out. If it wasn't for that rock, I would have been found out in the open, a victim of that growling monster. Maybe? Oh, the oak was huge. The oak was huge. He was still confused. I'll try to figure... Whether by luck or experience, Tekla always finds... I'll try to figure... Tech.
It could be dangerous. Are you...
Maybe it's best to think more... Tech.
It could be dangerous.
We've got to try, or we'll never get away from this cliff alive. Tech.
It could be dangerous.
Maybe it's best... I'll try to... The oak was huge. If it wasn't for that rock... In that moment, I thought it was better. Better think about it. Maybe. I thought it was better to look for... I was all out. Sometimes... In that moment... Maybe. Sometime... I thought it was... Was it really? The oak was huge.
Interesting.
Have you got any ideas for getting out?
I'm afraid normal hunting techniques won't... We need to observe its behavior, study it for a while, and find its weak spots.
I noticed that it never...
It must be attracted to bright...
My scarf, huh? I'll try to... Tekla, I have an idea. As soon as the beast is distracted, runs towards Olive and get him to shelter.
Whenever you're ready, cretin.
Olive was finally safe. One step at a time, and we might make it.
Curious.
What are you talking about?
Why doesn't the beast charge you? It was distracted by Oliviero before. But now?
I guess its aim isn't so much to hurt us as to protect something.
A guard animal. The behavior matches. It doesn't want to be led away from the area it has to protect, but it attacks as soon as someone steps on it.
This leads us to two conclusions. The first is that we're in the right spot, and what we're looking for is right at the foot of the oak. Well, the second is very worrying. We have to get rid of that beast if we want to dig. Tech,
It could be dangerous. Are you...
we've got to try. It looks even more furious than before.
After a shot with this narcotic? No. It should have felt this one. Big time. Enough to slow it down, at least.
That's something. But now you have to take Olive and get him out of here.
Can you handle things alone?
Defeating the...
I have to admit, cretin. I underestimated you.
Alone again to face death. Despite the dose of tranquilizer and the headbutt, the monster was still standing. Could the syringe have been useful to inject something into the acorn? That was a really great plan. It was my last chance to knock that animal out. There were moments of agonizing waiting. I saw the helicopter vanishing in the distance, in the direction of San Leo. Surely Olive would be fine. I couldn't say the same for me. The beast seemed determined to charge, yet it resisted. Maybe after the previous blow it had learned to fear me.
Hey, cretin, would you ever have believed that forgetting a shovel would save your life?
I got rid of that beast in an almost miraculous way. Still amped on adrenaline, I started digging the ground at the foot of the marked tree. And finally, right before my eyes, was the coffin where Count Cagliostro had rested for centuries. The weight of history crushed me like an insect. A bit intimidated by what I might find inside the coffin, I tried to move the lid. There was no trace of Cagliostro's body. Centuries had passed, but not so many to justify the absence of any remains. After the initial shock, I noticed another detail. The coffin was completely made of gold. As soon as I picked up the bracelet, the wood on which it had rested for centuries started to react. I'd witnessed plenty of strange things in those days, but this time, I was speechless. What kind of power did that tiny object possess? Did it turn everything it touched into wood? While I prayed not to end up like Pinocchio, I was warned by my sixth sense. I felt that there was something else to find inside that coffin. To the touch, I thought I felt... I had never figured out what the second key someone made me find in Miami was for. Was it possible that... all that time, I'd gone walkabout with a centuries-old heirloom in my pocket? The secret alcove was hiding a medallion with an engraved symbol that resembled a pentacle. I'd seen many of them at crime scenes, but that medallion was slightly different. Plus, it emitted strange vibrations, similar to those of a mirror found on the Site Relique. Whatever its meaning, that was the object I needed to find.
I must ask you to turn around without making any sudden moves, please.
Father Carlo! I can't believe it. So you were involved in all this as well?
Please, don't blame me for this. I have been forced to do everything they ordered me to do. Do you think I'm proud of my actions? That I'm glad to have contributed to the murders of poor innocent souls? I had to deny my faith.
Then why? You could refuse to cooperate.
My sister Marie keeps Professor Visconti under control for them through the use of drugs and infusions. But they keep an eye on her in the meantime as well. If I backed out of this, they would have killed her after inflicting unspeakable torture. They're masters of mental manipulation, and
You're a perfect example of that. I bet you weren't so confused before.
I must not waste time. You have to give me what you discovered inside Cagliostro's coffin. Right now.
I understand. At this point, I don't think I have any other choice. Why do they want this bracelet? What are they trying to do?
The bracelet is able to stop their plans, and they don't want the risk. They desperately looked for it for centuries, slowed down by the disappearance of the scrolls, and that filthy beast left as guard by the Polish soldiers.
It could stop their plans. So there's a hope. You gotta help me. Together we...
You still don't understand. They're in my head, constantly talking, sneaking in thoughts that are not mine. I can hear them even now. Shoot, Carlo. Shoot now. Shoot! I'm sorry.
When I woke up, I instantly recognized where I was. Carlo left me for dead, rotting inside Cagliostro's coffin. The next thought was that I was still alive. I clearly heard the bullet whistling past my ear, missing me by only a few inches. After all, Carlo certainly wasn't a trained killer, and he didn't realize I was knocked unconscious by the hit on my head, not by the shot. My first instinct was to start shouting like crazy, but the little air I had left was too precious to waste like that. The shortage of oxygen was also the reason I couldn't wait for Tekla to come back. I had to move. Maybe? That was a really good idea. My hope suffered a tough blow. The spray bottle spewed only air, and not the liquid squirt I expected. I looked at the device and realized what the problem was. I was forced to use it at a very specific angle inside the coffin, and the straw wasn't able to catch the few drops of fluid remaining. I tried every possible position, but was too restricted in my movements. Better think about it. Father Carlo. Sometimes, my obsession... Father Carlo... Maybe? Father Carlo... Sometimes, my obsession with you... Father Carlo... No matter how hard I... Father Carlo had ensured... Pressing it firmly. Maybe I would be able to crush the magnet like that, but I didn't see any reason why. The magnet was... The spray bottle was made of...
Better think about
Father Carlo...
No matter how hard I try.
Father Carlo...
Maybe.
Father Carlo...
I thought it was better to... I didn't... Sometime...
If I only had a way to direct the straw towards the few drops of liquid remaining, I'd have gotten out of there in a split second. Carlo must have replaced the old-time worn nails with some brand new ones. The lid didn't move an inch.
I thought it was
Father Carlo had... If I only had a way to direct this...
Was it really worth it? I thought it was...
It was my get-out-of-jail-free card from that suffocating prison. Air! Oh, I can't believe it. Did I really get out of that hole unharmed?
After all the obstacles you've overcome, you still doubt your skills?
How did you find me?
It wasn't him who found you.
All right. Now I'm even more confused than ever.
I told you I would go to Rome, and I must say, I got there just in time.
I already thanked you for saving me, but now we demand some answers.
What is your actual role? And why did you drag me into this madness?
My role is to ensure that events follow the established course, as predicted by the Grand Master of the order to which I belong.
A cult of fanatics.
Galilei, Bach, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Newton, and many others. Do you really want to define them as fanatics?
How should we define them, then?
Brothers, appointed to remove the veil of ignorance from the eyes of fools, to push society towards progress, transmuting this world from vile lead to noble gold. United under the symbol of the rose and the cross.
The rose and the cross again. I'd come across them many times during my investigation, and now that I think about it, Duke Ravendish's company was renamed Fallen Rose.
The Ravendish family has always belonged to us, but the Duke was lost. You contributed to bringing him back to us, to his rightful place. The Fallen Rose, or more accurately, the Rosa Defecta, is nothing more than an abomination, founded by Radwed after he betrayed his faith against us. A twin cult that shares the same ideals, but which, in fact, promotes only self-interest rather than the good of humankind. For centuries, they've been searching for Cagliostro. Fortunately, the Count's grave was discovered by our adepts, the Polish soldiers you tracked down. Radwed and his men hunted and exterminated them, but the scrolls were already safe, hidden, until now.
Wait, Are you actually telling me that Radwood was already alive in 1795?
He went by the name Edward at the time. Now show me the lost seal.
That is the Sigillum Emeth!
The last still active seal, created by the Grand Master Cagliostro, before he was framed by the conspiracy of the Inquisition and that fraud Balsamo. The only defense you'll have against Radwood and his Hand of Glory.
An artifact with unlimited power, used in the past to unleash the fury of the seas and destroy an entire fleet, the Invincible Armada.
Dee realized he had raised forces he couldn't control and destroyed it. But just think what an individual like Radwood might engineer in possession of such power.
I still don't understand how the baby's kidnapping fits into all this.
We were sure Radwood would use the flesh of the unborn, ripped from the suffering mother, to produce the Hand of Glory. But he must have found another way.
I read that the hand can also be created using the fat of a hanged man who died in hatred.
Molesberg oozed hate from every pore. The little dots are starting to connect, but there's something else. In Cagliostro's coffin, I found a golden bracelet shaped like a snake. Carlo knew about its existence, and he demanded me to give it to him.
Cagliostro was the bearer of our initiation secrets, and he knew that sooner or later someone would try to bring back the Hand of Glory. Consequently, he created the sigillium as a shield, and the bracelet as a sword.
Are you saying the bracelet is capable of blocking the hand's powers?
That's why the wood of the coffin turned to gold when I removed the bracelet. The ornament had blocked the transformation process. Well, perfect.
What? You just said you had to turn it over to Father Carlo.
I threw him a bracelet. The same one used by Alice to track me down and bring you here, I suppose.
The tracking bracelet?
That thing had been eroded by brackish water, traveled halfway around the world, and had even spent a few hours tied to the tailpipe of a vintage car. It looked like an antique piece at that point. The fact that Carlo isn't exactly a smart guy helped as well.
Surprising. Really surprising. I knew I'd chosen well.
Chosen? For what?
Every master is obliged to personally select the new members of the Order. You're bright, resolute, and at your best, you'd be a valid ally.
But above all, I'm blackmailable.
What are you talking about?
You can't deny you felt very good after you inhaled my gas. Stronger, more vigorous, your lungs saturated with clean air.
Wait, you...
I can make this effect permanent. My initiation gift to you, if you'll choose to join us.
Lars.
Alice, you said the doctor saved you in Rome. How?
He claims that Marie wanted to kill me overnight, so...
So he put her to rest. And that's not all. You knew where Catherine and the kid were from the beginning. You delivered the picture that led us to Radwood's factory and gave me the clues to solve the map on the Site Lalique. You knew everything. And yet you preferred pursuing this crazy quest rather than stopping Radwood.
Radwood is not an enemy we can face alone. He
knows all your dirty tricks.
I'd like you to reflect well before refusing such an offer. I won't give you a second chance.
Lars, if he can really...
Let's go, Alice.
So be it. May the rose and the cross guide the last actions you'll take in your existence.
Little things, right? See you soon, Lazaro.
Oh, here you are, finally.
Apologies. I went to freshen up and change my clothes.
But you've always worn the same clothes since this whole story started.
Do you think it was easy to find a short-sleeve coat with a hole for letting the scarf pass through? I had to order a supply of them. Besides, you also... Ah, nothing. You look nice, you know?
Anyway, I have bad news. Radwed and his men must have discovered your deception and disabled the tracking bracelet. We know they reached West Rotfield, then nothing.
So, are we stuck?
Not really. Do you remember the doctor's references to the rose and the cross? I started researching the territory using the two terms as keywords, and I almost immediately got feedback. Of course, the source is not exactly reliable. We're talking about conspiracy websites.
Are you referring to Wheelo's blog?
No, a guy named Rupert Saucer, the classic zealot who lives in a trailer isolated from the world. I would usually rule out such a result, but in this case, Saucer claims that in an exclusive local cemetery, the King Lyrie, an ancient Rosicrucian temple, is hidden.
Rosicrucian? Is that the name of the doctor's sect?
The information I found refers to a group of enlightened intellectuals of which very little is known. Guess who's listed among the alleged Grand Masters of the Order, though?
Count Cagliostro.
As you would say, bingo.
We'll have time later to investigate the Rosicrucian further, but for now, we have to inspect the King Lyrie.
Wait. I think you should keep this.
The scrying mirror. Are you sure?
I don't feel like walking around with some cursed ancient artifact in my pocket. And now let's go.
And so that was the place where it would all end. Maybe miss the brackish air of Miami, or the shining sun of San Leo. Well, let's take a look. Alice, let's try to talk to the Undertaker. Good morning.
This must be my lucky day. I haven't seen so many visitors for years.
I thought cemeteries received hundreds of people a day.
Not this one, Beefcake. Only a few people can afford to tread the precious pebbles of the King Lyrie.
Beefcake, huh? Well, she had better taste than she looked.
As a result, I'm stuck here alone all the livelong day. It's deadly boring. Do you get it?
Listen, we'd really like to chat with you, but we're in a rush. We're trying to find some crypts, ancient crypts to be precise.
Do you see that tree? Follow that path and you'll find them in front of you.
Thanks.
Hey, wait for me. Wow, this cemetery's got something about it.
The farther we proceed, it gradually becomes more ancient. What's wrong?
I have good news and bad news. Do you see those two near the crypt?
The blonde and the goon? Don't tell me that...
Yep, Eugene and Mama. Radwed's henchmen I faced in Miami.
Ouch!
Hey, relax. This guy's already handled them successfully a couple of times.
No, Lars, you're on my foot.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And the good news?
Well, at least they saved us the trouble of searching for the crypt. It's surely the one they are guarding.
Enter entering will be more difficult than expected.
Fortunately, neither of them shines with acumen. With the right idea and a bit of luck, we can make it.
We have to find a way to distract them and open the crypt as fast as we can.
A two-phase plan. I like it.
It'll be quicker if we split the tasks. You take care of the crypt, I'll deal with those two.
You're crazy. I can't let you do it. Even if Mama looks like a pig with a wig, she has no scruples. And if she sees you...
Listen, they're forced to stay in the vicinity of the crypt, right? So if I keep my distance, I won't endanger myself. You go back to Quentin's pub and find a way to access the crypt. I'll try to push them as far as possible from the area. From intern to action hero in no time, right?
Alice,
Get out of here before I change my mind.
be careful, okay?
What's the big deal? Distracting two killers? Child's play. I'll take the wire.